Hello. Are we all here? So I'm Dan. This is Dan Roxbox. So a live feed, and we're just going to discuss today the crystals for animals. Okay. So any questions that we have, please feel free to join me live. Join the waiting room and come in and chat if you've got your questions, or you can put your questions in the comments and I will answer them that way. Okay, so crystals for animals, very similar to the children being quite receptive to the energies of crystals, and so will the animals themselves. Hello, Anne. Hello, Lucy. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to see you all here. So any questions at all about your pets? And for some people, they've chosen pets rather than children. So they are very much a part of our family. They're part of our members, and we want to do the best by them. We want to look out for them. Obviously, again, hi, Pauline. Hi, Andrea. And Andrea, she's joined us on here, and hope she doesn't mind me mentioning, but she is a veterinary nurse. So she's very much in depth with the spiritualness, and she's very much in depth of the medical side of things as well. I know a little bit, and I'm only covering basic knowledge, basic grounds of the crystals with what I've used with the animals I've had, either in the present or in the past. And obviously there are some things that crystals won't be used for. You would need to see a profession, and any medications that your pets are on, these are not to replace those. Keep using the meds, keep using what the vets or the veterinary nurses have told you, but we can bring in crystals to help with their lives and to enrich their well-being. So any questions at all, anybody who wish to join me live in the waiting room, and we can have a nice face-to-face conversation, or if you're shy, if you don't want your face to be here, then please put your questions in the comments. But it'd be nice to see you. I have still got some quartz generator points to give away, so anybody who does come online and we have a face-to-face question and answer discussion, then you will get a generator quartz point as a gift away. And so with crystals, they all work on an individual basis. So what I say about some crystals, others might have different opinions on those, and nobody would know pets or animals like the owners. So I can recommend some crystals like I did yesterday with the children. I can recommend a list of crystals, but then it's down to you to look at those, look at the pet, and work alongside and to find and to pinpoint and to narrow that down to that crystal. There's amazing ways to communicate with animals. Maureen Rolls, she's an amazing lady who communicates with animals. Karen Price, the clairvoyant, she's again going on live tonight at 6 o'clock to do some more readings. She's also into a lot of animal work, animal healing. She can communicate and hear from them. So yeah, and then there's Ali. She does animal healing with tuning forks. So there is a lot of people out there who can give a little bit more thorough, in-depth than what I can. I'm just more covering over the basics, but they can do more in depth. But if you do want to try and help understand your pet easier, I would suggest Agate. Okay, and Agate is a wide range from fire agate to moss agate, dendritic agate. It's all about finding the one that you are drawn to. And anything from the agate family you cannot go wrong with when it comes to animals. Okay, it's a powerful but gentle energy. It can open the channels of communication between you and your pet. It will balance your pet's energy. It will assist with sleep. It will calm any anxiety. And it can also bring in focus through any training of your pet. Okay. So agate is a nice one to work with if you wish to try and form a bridge between you and your pet, because it is really important that we do have an understanding and we are looking out for our animals' well-being. I used to, as a Saturday job back up in the Midlands, I used to work in the vets on a Saturday, just doing bits and bobs around there, and sometimes be in on the consultations. And it was surprising how many questions the vet asked that the owner couldn't answer. And obviously there could be some visual symptoms and things that we can see that's visually wrong with the pet, but there's things that we need to know, like how many times it's going toilet, how many times it's eating, and and some of the owners were just like, I don't know. And then they argue because it's costing them a fortune to do further tests. But if we had that information from the animal by observing and keeping an eye on our pets, then by giving the vet that much information and saying everything that you can, it's going to narrow those symptoms down. So there's going to be less tests and less money having to be forked out. Okay. So any questions at all? Okay. Belle, would you like to say your questions, or do you want me to go through them? I know Belinda, bless her, she does an amazing job. She works very closely with dogs. A one love in life, and she's on our chakra workshops. So she's very much involved with her doggy daycare. Oh, bless you, Michelle. Okay. Any questions at all, Michelle? Anything? Okay, Sarah. So I can't. Oh, bless you. It's nice little pajama day. That's what Sundays are for. A Labradoodle, bless. I think he's. Okay, so a Labradoodle to calm him down. So you've got the Labrador and you've got the Poodle side. Now, to calm animals down, we need to look at ourselves as well. We can run very similar with each other, and this is why we're part of the animal kingdom. We shouldn't put ourselves to one side. So look at the things that calm us down. So blue calcite, Sarah, I think would be a really nice stone to calm him down. I mean, does he come up for cuddles when he's lying down if the kids are near him? Be a nice stone just to work along his body. Okay, and obviously the blue calcite is also good for the throat chakra. So anything there that he's got, we still work on the chakras when we're working on our pets. Although there is a slight difference to the chakra system when we're working with animals. The crown, the third eye, the throat, and the heart is there. But then when we look at the solar, the sacral, and the base, we work along the spine. So the base is at the base of the tail, and then the sacral further up, and then around the central part of the spine is where the solar plexus is. But anything cooling and anything big, or to release anything, say smoky quartz. I mean, there is going to be some stones that I'm going to be repeating myself on today, but that's because when we come to animals, we don't look at the high vibrations. We don't look at the array of crystals we've got and gone, oh, let's use this, this, and this, and this. It's a simple box. They're simple animals, but they're so receptive. So we don't need to use too many crystals when we're working with them. We can have a small kit, but anything while the dog is relaxed, just brush down him. And we can work in the aura, but sometimes he might be a bit distracted of like, what are you doing? You're fake stroking me. So literally go on, touch, and then just stroke him down. So smoky quartz, release any of that negativity, any of that abundant energy. Let's release that. Let's stroke that down. Or we can go with blue calcite, blue lace agate, mangano calcite, those nice soft stones. So any of those, and I always work hands-on with the animals. I never leave the crystals alone with the pets. Same reasons for why we shouldn't with the children. And dogs in particular love to eat stones. They love doing it. It's a pastime habit. Some humans smoke, some dogs like to swallow stones. So obviously do not leave stones unattended unless you fully trust your dog or trust your pet and you know their behavior, you know what their habits are like. So Michelle, one of my girls struggle with hormonal imbalance when in season. My go-to for that, Michelle, would be moonstone. Moonstone is a really, and especially peach moonstone, which I don't seem to have, but peach moonstone would be a brilliant stone to bring out the balance when your girl's in season. Anything to do with cycles in season, moonstone would be the one to go for. And then again, especially with any pregnancies or young nippers, when we've got bringing a puppy or a kitten, a young animal into our home, moonstone will have that calming, gentle energy. So for that one, Michelle, great, brilliant. And again, use that, or you can try doing an elixir with the moonstone. Now, same with humans, I will never recommend putting crystals in water for either humans or animals to drink, even though I can loosely say that carnelian, clear quartz, smoky, citrine, and amethyst are relatively safe, I still wouldn't say it was a good idea. So for us, I mean, this is what we fill our cats' water with, because they've got one of these posh fountains, like they're drinking out of some fountain in Venice. So fill this up with water and place the moonstone next to it and leave it for like 12 hours or overnight. So before you go to bed, because in the morning is when we normally do the change of food, change of water. So place the moonstone next to the container that you've got the water in and just leave it there overnight. And then the next morning, then tip the water into your girl's drink. So then she can have that. And the energy of the moonstone will go in there. I'm a firm believer of the power of a crystal energy. It doesn't need to be in contact with the water for the energy to transfer. With it being by the side is absolutely fine. If you've got two pieces, you could put on either side, but one piece, we can have that there, and that should work as well. Same as anything else. That if we say any other problems we have with our pets and we want to ingest anything, do the indirect method. Have the stone next to the water container, and that'll be that. Okay. Oh, I see. We have a Carolyn Smith in the waiting room. If you're ready, Carolyn. Hello, sweetheart.
Hi.
How are you? We can actually wave face to face.
Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you, Dan.
Good.
I've got a cat that's 13 years old, and she's now enjoys sleeping in the garden. I've got a lovely new neighbour who's got a kitten that's indoors yet at the moment, and obviously will be coming out soon. I'm concerned that on previous experience that Luna will be disturbed if this cat, keeps on with her like previous experience. Is there any crystal that would help her in this situation or protect her boundaries?
Yes. So, do you have any turquoise?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Turquoise is a very positive stone, but very nice for boundaries. So using turquoise will really give her a nice safety net. Also, rose quartz is a nice one to fizzle out any tension between any animals. So even if they were in the same house and there was a commotion going on, clear quartz should be able to give a gentle energy for that. Ideally, it would be nice if it was the kitten that was having the crystals, because Luna's not going to be doing anything. Luna's going to be basking in the sun and is just peacefully in her own little world. It's the kitten who's going to be curious and intrigued, that's going to be going over and causing the nuisance. So it's the kitten,
yes,
that's going to need to benefit from this energy rather than Luna herself. But turquoise should help, and rose quartz.
So would it be a good idea to put the turquoise and rose quartz in the hedge that is the boundary line?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've got any baggies, organza bags, or anything that you just put the crystals in and then tie it onto a branch or something on the hedge, and then just put your intentions in that is there, because it's Luna's spot and you don't want that kitten to go there. And with those crystals working on that intention, that should hopefully solve it. If not, hour over the neighbours and see if they want a piece of rose quartz to help calm down.
Yes, I mean, yes, the neighbours really lovely, and we have discussed the situation. And I just thought, oh, perhaps a few crystals would help as well.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
You're very welcome,
Yes.
Cal. Anything else?
Else might be going off again to find another home. Because she's done that before.
No.
Because she's a very social cat.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Lovely speaking to you. Take care, sweetheart. So anybody else with any questions at all? So what else can we talk about? Fireworks. They're a big pain in the butt when it comes to us animal lovers. And it doesn't seem to be just tied down to Guy Fawkes night anymore. We can have it, well, after Guy Fawkes night, we can have it any other night all the way up until New Year's Eve. And even then, people seem to get confused when New Year's Eve is and can let off fireworks. In fact, the other night, 2 nights ago, we got woken up at about 1 o'clock in the morning. We tried to get to sleep before midnight, and some lady across the road, one of the flats, was playing Alicia Keys really loud. I don't know how anyone else in that flat weren't kicking off. And then we slowly decided to drift off, and someone let fireworks off. It must have been about 1 o'clock in the morning. And it was like, really? This is so inappropriate. Bless me. So, yeah, fireworks can be a real hassle when we've got our pets. So we need something to calm these animals down. And they can affect either mentally, physically, or emotionally, or a little bit of each. So for me, and again, this would be ideal if we were in with the animal itself, and when the fireworks are going off, we can give some reassurance. So fossilized wood. This is my healing wand for my personal healing collection. So again, something that you've got, and while the dog is next to you, just stroke it, reassure it. But while you're reassuring it, you're getting the petrified wood energy of a nice, gentle groundingness. Something that, they're going to just calm down. And it's that influence of nature coming into them. Petrified wood is a link to nature. So it's just letting them kind of lucid dream, kind of make them feel like they're somewhere else. They're not in your living room, or they're not under the dining room table. Listen to all these bangs. They're going off on a guided meditation by holding petrified wood and by rubbing them down. I will talk about rhodonite. So this is another one as well, rhodonite, which we can use if we haven't got petrified wood. We can use rhodonite to, again, stable them, make them stable, give them that grounding, but that love. So we're just loving them, loving them, loving them. So that is a good one. Rhodonite for me is amazingly good for mothers and for children. So with me, I used to show and breed guinea pigs when I lived in Newquay. I loved it. It was amazing. And I always used to run 2 cells together when pregnancies were involved, and their maternity enclosure would be in the living room with me, so I'd monitor them all the time. But sadly, some sows could lose a litter, and some litters could lose the sow. So I always that's why I like to run them as a pair in pregnancy, because if anything happened to mum, if the sow passed during birth, the litter would have the other sow to fend for, because they come out as little pom-poms. They need very little from mum. They'll have milk for a couple of weeks, but they will eat solids quite a bit quite soon after birth. So very low maintenance. And so and then also, if the sow loses a litter, she's then got the other sow's litter to give a little bit of motherhood. They can share litters, so it's really nice. But I always put rhodonite in there because it was just that forgiving, loving energy. So anything like that. So if your cat's having a litter, or if your dog is having a litter, rats, whatever your animal is, your pets, always bring in rhodonite, because if there's any complications, anything that goes wrong, they've got their sympathy in a good stone there. Okay, so Michelle, any suggestions to help dogs with separation anxiety? Separation anxiety, again, I would work alongside that with children. So I would give rhodochrosite. Rhodochrosite would be a brilliant one. Sodalite is another good one, especially if they're not good in car journeys. So you can have this in the car, and it will really calm them, really bring them down before they go off. But then at the groomers, that should bring down that stress level as well. But at the start with the agate, any of the agate family, moss agate is a nice one, because that's, again, is a nurturing nature grounding stone. So that would be a nice one to lower that anxiety, that separation. Okay. So what's the best crystal to use in accidents and emergencies with animals? For me, I would say, I mean, depending on the accident and emergency, my first thing would be forget your crystals, get the animal to the vet. But depending on the level of emergency, I mean, if your pet has been ran over, forget your crystals. It needs professional treatment. It needs help straight away. If it's having a seizure, if it's having a fit, then hematite would be a nice one. If you've got, if you're living with other people, ask them to get the hematite while you're getting the car ready or getting the dog ready, because obviously the sooner it gets to the treatment place, sooner it gets to the vet, the better the chances are. So I'm a little bit with accidents and emergencies, but a thorn in a paw, in a pad, rose quartz, to bring that nice, gentle, calming energy. We could soak the rose quartz in water and apply that to the skin and allow that to soothe. So depending on the seriousness of the accident, we might just be better off going straight to the emergency vets and getting it sorted there. But for the journeying time, it might be nice to get a little kit by the door with hematite. Hematite is so good for shock, so good for trauma, and really centering the energies. So any fits or seizures would be a nice calming, grounding stone. So Belle, again, best crystal to use on an animal with low energy. Again, we can look into this as what's the root of the low energy? Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it emotional? If it's emotional, I would perhaps go for carnelian. It's a brilliant immune system booster. So carnelian. If it's mental, I would go for citrine. We're still working in the emotional field, but the quartz in the citrine will take it to the mind, and it's that energizing. So if it's something, if it's come from a home, if it's come from a shelter, there might be a mental blockage there. Is the reason why it's down. It's perhaps still living in the past. We need to work that out. So we've got the citrine. And on a physical level, I would use fluorite. Fluorite is a great aura booster, great to boost the aura. So if the animal's aura is protected, then it himself is going to be protected. If fluorite is a good boost, then while it's working in the aura, it's going to help boost your dog as well. So that would be a real nice one to use there. So yeah, separating the three from physical, emotional, and mental. We need to find out the root to then work on the reason why it would have that low energy. Okay. And it might just be, if we're looking at age, okay, when they get to their senior years, okay, they might have the grey muzzle, but in their eyes, you can still see it's your dog. You can still see there's a little bit of spirit there. So sometimes when that ebbs, we might just need to cushion that. And carnelian would be a nice warming, strengthening stone for that again. Okay. It could be, some of these dogs can be quite neurotic, and it could be down to the weather. Yeah. Trying to take a dog out when it's peeing it down with rain. No. In the winter, it's like, human, are you crazy? Why would I want to go out there? So the seasons might alter the dog's energy. So sunstone would be nice. Again, so similar contrast to us humans. Okay, what works for us will work for them. Okay. So hopefully that would have answered that one for you, Belle. Sarah, what would be good to help ease car sickness in dogs? Again, I would perhaps my first instinct is we need to look around the stomach issue. We need to look at that unsettledness. So again, I would perhaps bring in carnelian, something that's going to be supportive, something that's going to be calming, something that's going to give them courage. Stopping that, if we can get to the root, if we could stop that churning stomach, that franticness, then we're going to stop the actual sickness. So get to the root. Let's support and stable and confine and support the dog. Then we shouldn't have that. But again, sodalite is brilliant for traveling. Really helps to settle the dog. So not only through travel sickness, but if we've got that whining, yelpy dog that's, it's not who he is at home, but when we're in the car, it's constantly unsettled, constantly making the whelping noise. Sodalite just really helps to calm and settle that dog, settle the dog. Yes, Anne, absolutely. Here's a workshop for you, Anne. Essential oils or creams and stuff for animals. That'll be a nice little workshop to do. So yeah, lavender. Yeah. I mean, for minor accidents, there can be crystals, but sometimes rather than just being at home doing things, it's best to get professional advice. Really better just to go and seek the vets, then go and try and slow down by getting crystals onto them. Crystals can come afterwards. For me, I would feel more comfortable using crystals afterwards, while they're at the vets, having it in the enclosure. Jade, for instance, would be a brilliant stone if they've had to have any surgery, to help them recover, to recuperate. That's where crystals will come into. That's really where crystals will play a key part in the recovery, the recuperation of the animal, rather than the in-between after the accident and the emergency and the vets. Let the vets do that first, then we can bring the crystals in. Because, you know, God, I mean, if anything happened to our cats, I don't think my knowledge of crystals would stay with me. I think I would go in absolute shock, and I perhaps wouldn't even be able to say what my name was. My first thing would be, let's get those crystals. Let's get that animal to the professionals. Any crystals to help a depressed animal? So again, very similar to the low energy, but the depressed, we can look more into, again, the backgrounds. So as this animal come from a shelter, as this animal came from a rough upbringing, what's the reason for the depression? So looking at boosters here. So tiger's eye. Tiger's eye is very grounding but uplifting. Really, really allowing you to shine bright. Really getting in deep, removing any sluggish, anything inside that's holding you back. Works on the solar plexus. So working on your power center. So if the dog's power has been taken away, so if it's been abused, if it's been mistreated, we need to bring in that power. Let that solar plexus come out shining bright, and that should help elevate any depression. Lepidolite. So lepidolite is a lithium-based mineral. So for this, lepidolite will be working more on a mental energy. So if it's a mental depression, it will just ease and dispel any of that negativity. Really just letting the dog go. You are in a green field now. You're not in some puppy farm. You're now in good ownership. Let that past go. Reframe your mental work. Really bring that in. So again, and these again use indirect water methods. So any low energy, any depression, make up a bottle of water the night before and leave the crystals around the outside. And it's all about choosing what crystal you feel is right for your dog and putting that next to it. Then the next morning, using that water into the dog. Okay. Might be useful to give it its separate bowl of water, but speaking, I don't think it would harm if any other of the animals drank from that water as well. We're not using direct method, we're using indirect. So anyone could use with a boost of energy, or any animal can use to keep their well-being stable. So yeah, amethyst as well. Amethyst, your general healer, can really work with just the levels of all being. So as a general thing, go for amethyst, but then try and pinpoint. Use a pendulum. Check out how your animal chakras are doing. If there's a deficiency in the chakras, that might aid in where that depression is lying. And then we can work on that crystal with the color of that energy center, the chakra, to bring it back up. Okay. Yes, yes, Carolyn, absolutely. I know we're talking very much about dogs here, but yeah, cats as well. Used the same crystal as that. Bloodstone as well has just come to me. Is a very, again, a nurturing, watery grounding stone. So that would be a very nice stone to work on. If I know, because I know with cats, we've got 5. So when we take them and we live down, our vets is down the bottom of the hill. So even just taking the cats down there can be quite a little bit woo for them, especially Ivy. They were very concerned with Ivy when we took her to the vets because her temperature was through the roof. Bless her. And that's because she's not a person cat. We own her. She is ours. But she comes and does as she pleases. She's not a lap cat. She just comes in and does as she pleases. So when we have to pick her up and take her to the vets, it's so stressful for her. So if you've got a dog or a cat who is, again, that worked up, bring in the hematite. Allow that energy to center. Okay, I said yesterday with hematite, with shock, with trauma, with animals as well as humans, when we go through the shock and the trauma, we have the dandelion head effect. So all of our energy just goes up here and it's all floated around. We need that to come back into alignment. We need to center it. So hematite for any real extreme traumas of traveling for cats or for dogs, use the hematite. But really, hopefully, just the calming crystals would be enough, and sodalite would be helpful just to keep it balanced. So, best crystals for a very verbal dog. Okay. So again, we're talking, there might be a deficiency here with the throat chakra. So Belle asked this question. So Belle, you're whiz with your pendulum. You know how to do that. So working on that, there might be something there. That's why it's verbal. So again, bring in some throat stones. Turquoise. Okay. It might be verbal because it might be protecting. It might feel like it needs to protect something. There might be a bit of fear, a bit of anxiety. It might need to go. So bring in turquoise, a grounding, protecting stone. So if the dog feels protected, it's going to feel more calm and be like, okay, yeah, I don't have to react here. We've got a nice place there. Manganese calcite. I mean, I have got turquoise, but I only carry very small pieces. Blue calcite, manganese calcite. Again, just creating those calming energies and just allowing it that, you know, it's okay. Don't stress. Blue lace agate, another cooling, soothing stone for the throat. So if you feel that there is a deficiency there, then we'll need to work on the throat chakra. But just creating that calming space for the dog should be able to allow it to calm itself down. My one dog, Trilika, tends to eat everything. Anything to help with that. I don't know if you can get a crystal muzzle, Anne. But again, citrine. When we were talking about the solar plexus the other day, we were talking about the metabolism, overindulging, overeating, or lack of eating. So look at the solar plexus stones. Look at citrine in particular, or ocean jasper. Jaspers as a family are amazing for animals, amazing for dogs. Dalmatian jasper, which is a white with black spots, hence why it's called Dalmatian jasper. That is a really good stone for animals and for pets. So jaspers in themselves, obviously, I would never recommend bumblebee jasper because of the toxicity in the stone. But yeah, if it's eating everything, give it a bit of citrine, see what its metabolism is doing, or a bit of orange calcite from the sacral chakra. Look around those stones, those areas there, to bring in a bit of gentleness, a bit of calmness. Pauline, my dog has arthritis in her hips, on supplements and pain relief from vets. Any crystals that would help her? When I think of arthritis, when I think of joints, Pauline, the one I come with is malachite. Okay, I did just say about not using bumblebee for the toxicity. With malachite, obviously it's a copper mineral, so only supervise using this with it is your dog. So when the dog is with you, if it's on your lap or next to you, like I suggested to Sarah, when it's calm and it's going to sleep or in bed, just use the malachite and just rub over where that area is. Okay, just work with it, work with the dog, give her a stroke, give her fuss, and just use the malachite as well as to aid in that. Copper, chrysocolor, turquoise, the crystals that carry the copper mineral, really nice with that. Calcites, the calcite family, so from the orange to the pink to the blue, they're quite good for the structural and the skeletal makeup of animals. So that might be a nice thing because it's a calcium carbonate mineral. So the calcium that is nice for the bones. So we can use that. Might be nice to do the elixir. So when we've got the water, we can just do that. But again, Pauline, work on the indirect. So again, I will just use this as an example. This is what we use to fill up our cat's water with. Okay, so tonight before we go to bed, fill this up with water, put it on the side with the lid on, because you know what cats are like. If there's anything on the side, it will knock things off. So put that there, and any crystals that you want to use, just put next to the container. Yes, ideally this should be 100% glass, but you know, needs must. We use this. It's a reusable plastic. We reuse it, reuse it. So put the crystals around the outside, and then in the morning when you're topping up their food, giving them fresh water, just pour from the water. So overnight or for 12 hours. So again, once you've done that, obviously there's some left. Use that for the afternoon top up or the nighttime top up. But then whenever it's empty, just top it up and use those as well. I hope that is helpful for you, Pauline. But yeah, look at the copper stones and work on it. Don't leave it anywhere. Okay, copper mineral is not good to ingest. Sometimes I would like to say, if there's two compartments on the bed, if they're sleeping in a dog bed or a dog basket, and there's two compartments, put a crystal underneath it and then the bedding on top. But dogs are curious. They've got that sense of there's something here. I need to seek out this thing. So I'm always worried that the dog will seek that out and give it a lick or ingest it, which would be one thing I wouldn't want to recommend. If you trust your dog and think, yes, I can hide that in the bed, without it eating it or licking it, then do so. Other than that, though, work hands-on with your pet. Oh, we have some advice from our resident veterinary nurse, Andrea. One day I think she should come on here and we should give her a little interview, give her some questions that we can ask. I wonder if you'd be up for that, Andrea. Also, leaving the cat box open in the house so the cat can use it as an extra bed stops it being a scary thing. Yes, yeah, that is one of the things is, yeah, our cats don't use any small compartments for a bed. So they would, when we put them in that box, they're not used to that at all. So yeah, we always have to leave the box out for half the day. If it's an afternoon appointment, that cat box will be out in the morning so they can sniff, they can explore, and they'll all go in it. They'll all go in and out. When it's time for the vets, will they go in? Will they heck? Luna always throws up too on the way home. No problems seeking her favourite vet. Oh, brilliant. Lovely. Thank you, Anne. I'm glad that's okay for you. Any crystals for a dog with skin problems? So again, looking at the skin, and this time now we can soak crystals in water and apply it as long as there's no open wounds. So rose quartz, jade I mentioned yesterday for children, manganese calcite, the cooling, soothing energies, they would be really nice. Oh, sorry. Bear with me 1 second. Sorry about that. Family for you. So, yeah, depending on what the skin condition is, using those cool, soothing stones. If we've got any broken selenite, so selenite really brings a nice, cool, peaceful, calming energy. So if we have any broken pieces of selenite, one of the things we can do is crunch it up even more into a powder and then apply that to water. And then we can use that for skin conditions. I wouldn't drink that. I would not promote that at all. But definitely for anything on the skin. So yeah, that would be what I would suggest. And so I'm just looking over the array of crystals that we have got here for that. So yeah, yeah, absolutely. You could put the crystals on top of their crates. That is brilliant. Always just make sure that there is a side of the crate that they can escape from that energy of the crystal. So with rabbit hutches, hamster cages, if we don't want to put the crystals inside because they might gnaw at them, we might feel like doing a layout or a grid. If we did that, the animal wouldn't have nowhere to escape from that energy, and they can end up over baking. So if you were going to do a grid, only do a grid half of their hutch. So they've got one half. Normally the bedding area would be free from the crystals because they'll want to sleep there, and you don't want the crystals to be working on them while they're sleeping because they might be in too much of a deep sleep and they won't move away from the crystal energy. They'll sense the energy. So that if they want to go to the other side of their hutch and have the crystal energy, then you can. So by layouts, we're doing that for. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, with the doors left open, Belinda, Belinda, she is on the ball. She is amazing with her doggy daycare that she does. So yeah, doors left open. So when they've had enough, they can escape. Perfect. Absolutely brilliant. Okay. Well, we've got 5 minutes left. I do need to leave sharply because I have a very important Skype call with Little Man at 6:30. So Ruben will be online for me to chat to at 6:30. Is there anything else? One thing I do just want to cover is shelter homes and those that are in charity centres, or when we're getting those animals back in. This is where I would bring black tourmaline in. So if we're working in a rescue centre, if we're working where we're getting these dogs or cats, ferrets, whatever, bring in black tourmaline or smoky quartz, because we need to get rid of that energy that they've come from, that house. That energy will still have its claws in that animal. So using smoky quartz or black tourmaline, we're able to remove that energy and bring that in. Also, just quickly, dioptase. I said about this for the heart chakra, knowing your worth. If any animal has come into your care that's been abused, dioptase. Okay, it's regal, it's royal. It really gives you that pout of you are worth so much more. You are so worth this. So before we can use help any of these animals out that have been abused, they need to know their self-worth. They need to know that they can respect themselves. So using dioptase, which just does that so amazingly. It is an expensive stone. So green aventurine would be an alternative that I would use for that. They're just so good for just re-establishing that dog. Because if that dog doesn't realize it, well, I was saying dogs, but if any of those animals don't realize their self-importance, whatever we're giving to them, it's going to fall on deaf ears. They're not going to sink that in because they're not going to feel they're worth it. So we need to bring in that love. And again, going on with the chakras, when we work on the chakras, and I separated the greens and the pinks. So the greens are for self-love, for loving us. The same applies to the animals. Use the green stones on them first. Give them that love. Give them that, not your love, give them their love. Let them know that they love themselves. They respect themselves. They are worthy of themselves. Once they've got that foundation, then we can start doing the work. We can start doing the training, start doing the recuperating of the animal, because they know their worth. They know they're better than the awful place that they're in. So you bring that into them. Okay, then we can bring on the pinks and then allow them to trust in humans, trust in animals again, and build those bridges. But the green crystals, green aventurine or dioptase, really important for any of that neglect, to really bring the animals out of that bad place. It's not depression, it's not low energy, it's just that it's that negative programming that they think that that's all they deserve, and it's not what they deserve. They deserve so much better, but they think because they've had those years of that abuse that that's all that they're capable of, and they're not. They're capable of so much more than that. So yeah, I will end on that now on a lovely note. So that was crystals for animals. There was so many questions. The time has flown. Thank you so much for joining us. I really hope I got to answer all of your questions. Obviously, this is online. If you need a little bit further out, or if something is quite not sinking in, do come back and leave me a message. Ask me for some more. But again, if you wanted to go into a bit more detail, then Maureen Rolls would be a brilliant girl. Karen Jane, who should be just going online now. Karen Jane Price, the medium clairvoyant, she does a lot of animal healing work. She communicates with those as well. So thank you all so much. I'm glad it's nice to see all the brilliant comments. So thank you. Also, before we go, tomorrow we're going to start our connections to crystals, and we're going to be starting with clear quartz. So if you want to join us, we're going to be talking about 10-15 minutes first on the live feed to hear about how people have felt with clear quartz. And then we're going to be talking about crystals around the home, around the house, where we can place them. If you want to join in with connecting with clear quartz, and we have a piece of clear quartz, please, between now and 5 o'clock tomorrow night, find yourself 5-10 minutes alone time with the clear quartz. Now, if you connect with crystals, do it your way. Do what works for you. If you want some music on, and just close your eyes and just be in the energy of clear quartz. We're just connecting with it tomorrow. If you've not connected with clear quartz before and you would like to, my only way that I get myself and the people that come to the workshops to connect with crystals is just find that quiet moment. Just close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, get yourself comfortable, get yourself relaxed somewhere where you're not going to get disturbed for about 5 minutes. And with the crystal in your hand, okay, look at the crystal. Visually looking at it, we're going to start connecting with it. Then use our fingers, the tips of our fingers, the sensitive parts, and allow yourself to go over that crystal, rubbing over it, feeling that surface, looking at the colors, looking at any inclusions, any fractures, any rainbows, anything at all. We can close our eyes and we can rub our fingertips around the crystal. Then when we feel that that's okay, hold it into your hand, hold it wherever you feel comfortable holding the crystal, and then connect to the keeper, the spirit of the crystal. Then when you feel that there is a connection there, ask the keeper, the spirit, how may you help with my day-to-day life? How can I use you to aid in my life? Any questions at all, ask those questions. Hold a sense of any sensation in your body, any temperature changes, any tingling sensations, anything at all. Hold on to that. You might be taken to your mind's eye, where you might start seeing colors, words, songs, symbols, animals, any colors, anything at all that your mind eye is showing you. Just accept it and acknowledge it, and then you might be able to see more. After a couple of minutes or so, 5 minutes, before you bring yourself back round, thank the keeper, the spirit of the crystal. We're working on a mutual respect. The crystal is not a master of us. We're not a master of the crystal. We're working on a balance. We're working on an equal level, and we're going to reach each other on that balance by thanking and exchanging the energies. And anything that you were shown through those few minutes, 5 minutes of connecting, make a note of that. and then please join us tomorrow at 5, and we'll spend 10 minutes just talking over that, seeing how we feel with that, and then I'll move on to talking about crystals for the house. Okay, so clear quartz, feel free to do that, to connect with that, and feel free to share your experiences with it. If you want to go for 10 minutes, go for 10 minutes, but that's about the maximum 10 minutes. Okay, see how you go with that. All right, but from me, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We're just about to Skype our son. We're going to have a barbie, throw a shrimp on the barbie, and have a few ciders, I think. So enjoy whatever you're doing on this Sunday. But any more questions, anything else at all, let me know. And you can ask me questions tomorrow as well for the and any questions again for crystals around the home. Do that as well, like we've done over the last 2 nights. Okay, but take care, sweet dreams, be safe, have fun, and I'll see you at 5 o'clock with some clear quartz connections and crystals around the home. Bye bye from me.